Ooh, yeah! There's my tribute to Macho Man Randy Savage for last week. And now, welcome to the Shreveport Connection with Tommy. And if you didn't know that, sorry about your luck. Alright, this is going to be about Raw and WWE news for this week. Okay, we're going to start off with SuperLuchas.net is reporting that the WWE has signed the Mexican Lucha Libre star Averno to a new deal. The report notes that Averno is expected to debut on SmackDown brand with to work against Sin Cara. The feeling is that WWE wants someone that Sin Cara can work with well in order to showcase his moves, as well as Averno himself. And Averno had a notable feud with Sin Cara during their time working in Mexico. Okay, Grand Slam Boxing and Independent Wrestling event in Pittsfield, with the main event being local celebrity boxer and former WWE, WWF superstar Brutus the Barber Beefcake, whose real name is Ed Leslie. In the middle of the second round, his opponent knocked him down, and I guess Brutus landed on his leg wrong because he stayed on the ground until paramedics ran up to help. So they stopped the fight at that point. They bandaged up his right leg on both sides. Not sure if it was broken, sprained, or dislocated. As soon as I get further results, I'll let everybody know. Okay, Ryan Howell, a.k.a. Skid Marks from Tough Enough this season, and Eugene will be appearing at an event called Summer Explosion 7 on June 26, 2011 in Huntington, West Virginia. The New York Post is reporting that WrestleMania 27 celebrity Snooki was taken into police custody after crashing her car into a police car. The report noted that alcohol was not a factor in the incident. JWoww, who made appearances for TNA, was also in the car at the time of the wreck. Voting is still going on at WWE's website for this Tuesday night, tomorrow night's NXT Redemption Elimination. Update on Layla. She wrote on the following on her Twitter regarding her recent surgery. My surgery went well. Dr. Dugas is amazing, but here comes the pain and the battle. We can do it, though I can't wait to get back in the gym. The journey begins. CBS Radio in Houston, Texas will have Booker T appearing at their annual fan festival this Saturday, June the 4th, from 12 to 2 at Reliance Center in Houston. If I get a chance while I'm there in Houston, since I'm going to my buddy's CASW live event in Humboldt, which is a suburb of Houston, he will be there to sign autographs as well as other stuff. Matches taped for this Thursday's WWE Superstar were Dark Match, Drew McIntyre pinning Chris Masters. Superstars was your Divas match was Gail Kim pinning Melina. And your WWE Tag Team Champions David Otunga and Michael McGillicuddy beat Santino Marella and Vladimir Kozlov. And it's unknown whether it was a tag title match or not. And that was your Raw brand superstar matches for superstars. And now your Tough Enough results from earlier tonight. The show opened with the usual recap piece narrated by Stone Cold Steve Austin, going over what happened on the show last week. Last week, AJ and Christina were eliminated from the show. 3 contestants remain: Luke, Jeremiah, and Andy. We see Jeremiah and Luke partying in the house with beer. Jeremiah says he doesn't care who comes back. He doesn't think any of them should come back. We see a clip of Andy who says he's angry and isn't happy with being at the bottom three last week. They show Andy getting back in the house, and he blows off Luke and Jeremiah, who ask him about what happened. And he tells them that they already know what happened. The 3 contestants arrive at the gym, and they're greeted by Booker T, Bill DeMott, and Trish. There is no theme for this week. Bill says he wants a crossbody, and Luke and Jeremiah get in the ring and start working. DeMott says that all they want is to see the best they have. Book puts over to work in the ring as the camera cuts to a pleased shot of Stone Cold coming in. Booker wants to see hip toss. Jeremiah, Andy, and Luke take turns working in pairs. Andy botches the drill with Luke. Booker tells him he has to be in control and lectures him. They cut to Andy, who says he messed up, and he can't say he won't mess up again, but he'll never stop improving. Bill DeMott wants to practice lockups. Trish says that there's no reason they can't get it at this point. We see Andy and Luke lock up, and Andy put Luke in a side headlock. Then Luke coming off the ropes and botching a maneuver, nearly blowing up Andy. Austin stops and scolds them. Jeremiah and Luke are working, and another botch occurs, and Austin asks if either just broke their ankle. DeMott says someone should have gotten hurt. We see a clip of DeMott crapping on Jeremiah's in-ring abilities. Booker T says all three failed the test and it sends them off, telling them to have a good night. Jeremiah says no excuses, but they just really had a bad day. Coming up, The Miz gives the contestants a lesson in awesome. And commercial break. They come back from the break, and contestants are at WWE photo shoot, where Stone Cold tells them there's a lot more to being a WWE superstar than just being in the ring. Austin introduces The Miz. They roll highlight footage of the former WWE champion, as he's bringing in the title belt as well, and they're using the title belt as a prop for their photo shoots. Miz congratulates the contestants, but he stresses press and promotion as a major part of the business. Trish informs the guys that they will be shooting for WWE Magazine and tells them to get ready for their close-up. They show Andy, Luke, and Jeremiah at makeup, where Andy appears awkward. Luke comes out with a WWE Championship belt and tells Austin he feels comfortable in a suit. Austin says Luke looks like he could do this all day long, and puts over his pretty boy looks. Andy comes out dressed like Luke in a black suit with a title belt. The Miz says you can tell Andy is just a nice, good old guy. Miz tells Andy he can do whatever he wants with the belt. It's his photo shoot. Trish tells him he looked awkward holding the belt. The Miz says he hopes Andy can get out of his shell, because if he can't, WWE will eat him alive. Andy appears to loosen up and then gets praise from Trish. Jeremiah comes out with his teeth out, but dressed up with his hair slicked back. The Miz doesn't like the no teeth, but Austin put him over in a big way and said he may have a bright future. Miz reminds the contestant he's awesome and then leaves. Austin says Bill and Booker are waiting back at the ranch, and it's back to work. Then they cut to a commercial break. Back from the break at the ranch, contestants arriving to Booker T and DeMott. Why do they keep wanting to type Hugh Morris and Trish Stratus? Don't know. We see a clip of Luke saying they have to bring it all the time. Andy gets in the ring and works with Bill DeMott. Luke goes next and Jeremiah follows. Booker T says he can bring them to the water, but they have to drink it themselves. Booker and Trish take time to lecture Andy to be the big man that he is. Cut to footage, and Andy says it's been a slow process of figuring out who he is in the ring. Booker and Trish like the adjustments he makes. He continues to work with Luke and convinces DeMott. We cut to a clip of DeMott, who says he may have convinced Luke and Jeremiah he might be a force to be recognized with. Luke and Jeremiah work, and Book tells Jeremiah to slow it down because he's too fast for his own good. Bill echoes the same thing and saying he's in such a hurry to get to where he needs to be, it doesn't work. That's why they have botches. We see footage of Jeremiah talking about his speed and inexperience. He says he has no room for error, but Book says to Jeremiah he is looking good, and DeMott says everything he does from now on is all speed. We cut to a clip of DeMott, who says he needs to slow down and digest everything in. We see a clip of Luke, who says today was a refreshing atmosphere from what has been happening. Bill sends him home after a good day. And they have the next segment, and they are going to a children's hospital with Stone Cold with the contestants. Austin talks about how WWE likes to give back to their fans. Austin puts over WWE's good deeds to make a difference. Luke and Austin go in a room of a sick little boy, and Austin introduces the contestants as Austin signs autograph for a little boy, as well as the others as well. Andy and Austin go into a room of a little girl where Andy explains he's a trainee. We see a footage of Andy talking about how he couldn't imagine how hard it could be as a parent. In the lobby, Austin says that the kids are tougher and braver than they are. Austin and Jeremiah go into a room where they have to have to grow up. They entertain the little girl, and a clip is shown of Austin talking to the contestants in the lobby. Then they got a commercial break. I'm going to go back to the children's hospital segment. When they come in, they are actually signing a toy, you call it a WWE ring that they have. And maybe one of the guys says maybe it'll be worth something later in history, because he doesn't know if he's got it himself to make it any further than this week's episode, as next week will be the finals. Back from a commercial break, and at the ranch, the trainers await the contestants' arrival. Austin says this week is about putting everything together, what they've learned throughout the competition. Austin says they're going to do a compressive skills challenge, and at the end of the day, someone's going home. Austin asks if they are ready for it, and they of course say yes. Up first is running the ropes. Austin adds the dimension such as a slam, etc. As the contestants take time working in pairs, Bill DeMott says it's like they're watching their kids, and it's painful because he can't stop and help them. We see a clip of Andy saying it's the last days, so you got to let it all out. They cut to a footage of Andy at the beginning of the competition. They cut to a footage of him now, with Trish putting him over on the commentary over it. She questions if it is enough at this point in the competition. They put the heavy bag in the ring, slam it down, and drop 3 elbows. Booker T says Luke has got it back, but got knocked off from the pedestal for a moment as they show footage from a past episode. Then we see footage of Luke saying he knew when he got to drop an elbow on the heavy bag, it was his chance to shine, and he dropped a perfect elbow today. DeMott talks about Jeremiah and questions if he is capable, but then dogs him for slamming the heavy bag in the wrong direction. Jeremiah then does an inverted elbow drop off the top rope and got praise from everybody there because they've never seen that move before. It was a twisting flip with the elbow on the opposite end. DeMott says you can't fix it 300 nights in a year. He says Jeremiah has glimpses of great stupidity. Austin feeds them another set of moves, which include a drop kick, leapfrog, and an arm drag. Jeremiah still first to start messing up. Austin says he can't quite grasp everything you need to do to maintain a safe level. Austin calls all 3 in the ring and says this isn't the bottom 3, this is the final 3. He tells them to go home and pack the bags, then come back and meet them in the middle of the ring. DeMott says it comes down to the captain of the ship, and Steve has some tough choices to make. Commercial break. Back from the break, the 3 contestants are back at the house. Jeremiah says he pulled a move ain't no one ever seen before and impressed everyone. Andy told him it was dangerous. They show footage of Andy talking about it, about how reckless Jeremiah is in the ring. Andy and Luke hug as Andy packs his bags. As we cut to footage of Luke saying he's done the best job of showing it he is the best, they all three take a shot of liquor for Jeremiah and Luke and water for Andy. But later on the show, Stone Cold is giving them all toast in his beer, and they're all drinking it. So Andy, you lied. You said you ain't going to drink for the whole show. Well, you did. Before heading to the ranch to meet Stone Cold, all three remaining contestants are in the ring as Stone Cold gets in to join them. They roll music to play up the moment. Austin says he's proud of them all, but someone is going home. He starts with Jeremiah. He asks him about the army, and Jeremiah tells him he was in for 3 years and did a tour of Afghanistan and came home and started fighting. Jeremiah says he's in this for lifetime. Andy is next to get Steve Austin in his face. Austin tells him he's too weak and fragile mentally. He asks him what he has to say about it, and he tells him he's full of it. And Andy says it's been tough leaving his wife and family. Austin asks Jeremiah if he has a kid, and Austin says he hasn't seen him emotionally and fragile since he's been there. Austin asks Jeremiah what he thinks about Andy, and he says he thinks he's soft. He puts over his divorce, and Austin jokes about his 3 kids. Jeremiah says he's emotionally stronger than Luke. Austin then tells Luke he's not bringing much to the table. He's a good-looking guy with nothing else. Luke tells Austin that this is the entertainment business. Austin says after 20 years in it, he wasn't quite that clear. It wasn't quite that clear. Luke says today he dropped a mean elbow today and picked up swagger. Also says Jeremiah, someone who has never done this before, is pretty impressive. Luke says he'll give him that. Also says you don't have to give him that what you earned. Luke says Jeremiah looked to him for advice, so that's a win for him. Also says Jeremiah's win could be a loss. Your loss, Luke. Then they cut to commercial break. Back from break, they roll footage again of what Luke just said about Jeremiah's win. Luke says it's funny. If you're looking not to pull punches, he might be the arrogant one of the group. Austin asks Jeremiah if he's the arrogant one. Jeremiah says he's not arrogant, he's confident. Jeremiah says he has skills. Austin says ask Luke his opinion, and Luke says he won the skills competition and Jeremiah blew it. Jeremiah says, I ain't perfect. Andy has tears in his eyes, and Austin asks him if he's going to cry. Andy says he's emotional and he doesn't care who knows it. Austin says for everything he likes about Andy, physically he thinks he lacks in charisma. Andy says he has enough fire for everyone in the ring and has a mean streak a mile long. And he says he thinks Luke has zero potential in the business and he isn't comfortable in his own skin. Luke says he loves his own skin. Also questions Luke about his nervous laugh. Luke puts himself over and tells Austin he can call it what he wants. And he says he didn't bring it to the table every time because he hasn't been in the business that long. Jeremiah says he put it all on the line and says he got it done. Austin asks him what happened today, and Jeremiah says he left it all in the ring. Steve tells him he left a pile of crap in the ring today. He said today he felt like Jeremiah was going to break his neck today. Jeremiah says he has a lot to learn, but since he's been there since day one, he hasn't hurt anyone, even though he might have had a couple of close calls. Austin addresses Andy at this point, and Luke and Jeremiah as well. He says they all put up a heck of a fight, and he's making a decision based on what he's seen. Austin tells Jeremiah the skill level finally passed him by, and although not by much, he's sending him home. Austin tells Jeremiah this green rookie almost sent you home, and looks at Luke and tells Andy he came real close to sending you home. Jeremiah is the final elimination leading up to Andy and Luke being the remaining contestants for next week's live finale. They roll a clip of Jeremiah saying goodbye. They go back to the ring and also talks about the next time they'll see one another, which is at the Florida Championship Wrestling facility, where they will compete in an exhibition in front of WWE brass. Austin gives them all beers, and then they all throw them down, drink them down in the ring. Cut the footage of both Andy and Luke talking about how they are excited they are in the finals. Then they show footage of next week's show featuring the exhibition matches they taped earlier this month, which I did not see as the show was going off the air. Okay, and now for your Raw Memorial Day edition of Raw opening with a video dedicating the show to the men and women who have sacrificed their lives for our country. WWE had some technical difficulties as we went to black for a few minutes. When they came back, the sound was very either behind or up front. At some point, it was like 5 seconds ahead of time. And when they finally got it back, which they did replays of it, where what you heard are True talking about, which I'm about to discuss very briefly, and then later on it shows what he will say. Okay, come back and Truth is going crazy at the merchandise stand in the arena. Then they cut to a technical difficulties graphic show showing up. Then we cut back to Truth going crazy again, heading to the ring, yelling at fans near the merchandise. We still have no sound and we can't hear what's being said. Truth tears up a merchandise table and goes to the concessions area where he sees John Cena's face on a cup, where there's a stack of cups there, and he tosses them all down. As you see, the black curtain, which they actually don't have. So it was a staged area. They don't have black curtains in the arena at your live events or at Raw tapings or SmackDown tapings. So, and the guy that was there, he just disappeared as the fans were still waiting on their drinks and other merchandise that they were trying to buy at the concessions. Okay. Truth gets pissed and walks towards the ring. We get a little bit of muffled sound and some more technical difficulties. Then they cut to Cole and Lawler talking about it's being delayed. We finally get some sound right, and Truth is walking through the crowd insulting Cena's fans. More technical difficulties. Truth kneels down in front of a boy, his dad and his brother, and starts messing with them. Truth mocks them for wearing Cena shirts and the red color. WWE sound is still off as Truth makes his way to the ring. Truth goes on until John Cena's music hits, and out comes the WWE Champion to the ring. Cena comes out and talks while we have more difficulties and mocks Truth. So what went on is Truth was challenging Cena to a match, which will come up very shortly. Okay. Truth goes on until Cena's music hits, and out comes the champion to the ring. Cena comes out, talks while he had more difficulties, mocks Truth. Cena says Truth is off the deep end and asks him what is wrong with him. Truth defends his action and says since he stopped singing and dancing, people don't like him. The crowd starts chanting for Cena. Cena says he has no problem knocking some sense into Truth. Truth says that's exactly what he wants. Now, all the little Jimmies across the world get to watch Truth beat Cena down. Email alert goes off. Michael Cole steps up to read the general manager's email and makes R-Truth versus John Cena as the main event for tonight's Raw is announced. It is also announced that there will be no little Jimmy allowed at ringside, whatever this means. Truth thinks it's a joke and exits the ring, talking to himself. Because he dropped the mic in the middle of the ring. so you can't hear what he was saying. Okay. Still to come tonight is Karma speaking for the first time on Raw. First match, Dolph Ziggler versus Kofi Kingston is up next, and they cut to commercial. Back from commercial, and we see some guys enjoying a Memorial Day cookout outside the arena, which it was actually outside a business. Kind of looked like backside of a Walmart parking lot. Kofi Kingston versus Dolph Ziggler. They go to the ring. Out comes the Intercontinental Champion Kofi Kingston. Out next comes Dolph Ziggler. Back with his blonde hair. Vicky Guerrero at his side. Speaking of Vicky Guerrero, I believe she was engaged to her the guy that she was training with, and she called him cheating on her. Go guy, go guy. Well, she changed gyms, and guess what? She's no longer with a dude. So she's single again. Okay, back to the action. They lock up, and Dolph takes Kofi down first. Kofi comes back and drops Dolph on his front. Back and forth action on the mat. Dolph with a 2 count. Dolph beats Kofi down with a forearm shots. Kofi turns it around and takes Dolph to the mat. Now we get a headlock. Kofi fights out of the headlock now, but Dolph knocks him to the mat. Kofi leaps over Dolph twice, but misses an elbow and gets hit by Dolph. Dolph stomps away on Kofi in the corner. Kofi fights out of it with the forearm shots. Kofi whips Dolph into the corner and throws him out of it. Kofi leaps to the top rope, but Dolph knocks him outside the ring as we go to commercial. Back from break, Ziggler is in control of Kofi. Dolph slams Kofi to the mat and drops a big elbow for 2. There was one point in this match they did a corner spot where it was botched. I couldn't tell what they were trying to do. Dolph with another tight headlock. Kofi fights out and trades shots with Dolph. Dolph goes for a big splash in the corner, but Kofi moves out of the way. Kofi with chops and a drop kick. Kofi leaps, but Ziggler catches him. They counter each other's moves. Kofi with a big flying out forearm. Kofi hits a boom drop and calls for the Trouble in Paradise. Dolph ducks, and it goes for the sleeper hold. Kofi rolls out and kicks Dolph in the corner. Kofi goes to the top, but Dolph moves out of the way. Ziggler hits a leg drop finisher, but Kofi kicks out at 2. Dolph goes for the slam, but Kofi counters with a 2 count. Kofi goes for the SOS, but Ziggler counters and hits the zigzag for the pin and the win in this non-title match, even though he had his arm on the ropes. And Kofi could have kicked out or put his foot on the ropes as well, because they were like a foot away from it. But he didn't do it. So, staged. Dolph Ziggler wins the match. Michael Cole promises that he will get Alex Riley to apologize to The Miz tonight. Guess what? You're wrong. Lawler pokes Truth versus Cena tonight as we go back to commercial. Back from break, and we have Ricardo Rodriguez begins to introduce Alberto Del Rio. Del Rio comes in and driving an Audi R8 and makes his way to the ring. Del Rio introduces himself and shows a video package from last week. I'm Alberto Del Rio! But you already knew that. Okay. And a video package from last week where Big Show got hit by the car driven by Ricardo Rodriguez after Show and Kane lost the WWE Tag Title last week. Del Rio says it was an accident and tells Ricardo to tell us what happened. He doesn't, but it's in Spanish. Del Rio says Big Show made a mistake and this is all his own fault. Del Rio says that bad things happen to bad people. Del Rio says we all know he's a nice guy, but business is business. Del Rio says Show owes him money for damaging his car, and Ricardo will be sending the bill. Del Rio tells Big Show to get well soon, and his music hits. Del Rio leave the ring. Cole plugs Rey Mysterio versus CM Punk. Then we see Eve Torres and Kelly Kelly backstage warming up doing their normal stretches as they go to commercial. Bella Twins versus Kelly Kelly and Eve Torres. Back from commercial, and we have the Divas Champion Brie Bella in the ring with her sister Nikki. Out next comes their opponents, Eve and Kelly Kelly. Eve locks up with one of the Bellas and knocks her down with a shoulder block. Eve with an arm drag now, back and forth until Eve hits a roll up for a 2. Eve goes for a submission now. The referee gets distracted, allowing Nikki to come in for a cheap shot and the typical twin switch. The Bellas tag each other out for a few times and work Eve over in their corner. Double teaming leads to a 2 count. More double teaming on the ropes and more tags. Eve fights out of a headlock. Suplexes one of the Bellas overhead. Eve tags in. Kelly finally. Kelly comes in with the Thesz press and several punches. Kelly spanks one of the Bellas and takes her down with head scissors. Kelly does a stink face in the corner and then a bulldog for a 2. Eve comes in and drop kicks the other Bella. And they go to the floor. Kelly hits her leg drop for the pin and win. Winners of the match, Eve Torres and Kelly. Lawler pokes Karma appearance later on tonight, and Cole promises he will get Alex Riley to apologize to The Miz. Back to commercial. Back from the break, and Michael Cole is in the ring. He talks about The Miz firing Alex Riley last week from his personal services contract. Cole says the Raw GM has rehired Riley over the past few days for some reason he can't figure out. Everybody knows that Michael Cole is the suspicious Raw GM, anonymous GM, or whatever. Cole shows us footage from last week where The Miz and Riley fought. Riley comes out to his own theme music and video as the crowd applauds. And still, I believe this is the best part of Raw this week again. Cole says never in the history of WWE has there ever been such treachery and backstabbing. Cole asks Riley how could he do that to Miz. Cole says Miz nurtured and protected Riley, helped him grow. Cole says Riley attacked his own mentor. Cole says Miz is emotionally scarred from the attack. Cole says Miz thought of Riley as a brother. Cole asks how Riley can justify his actions. From last week, Riley takes the mic and says he's never felt better in his life. Cole says Riley has no idea what The Miz is capable of. Cole goes on and Riley tells him to shut up. Riley says Cole is just like The Miz, annoying, arrogant, and is a big mouth. Cole says he is none of those things, and neither is The Miz. Cole then calls Riley a bastard and goes to walk off. Riley grabs him and says the interview isn't over. Riley throws Cole to the mat and starts yelling at him. Riley picks Cole up, but Miz rushes the ring and attacks him. Miz stomps away on Riley. After kicking him in the head, Miz continues the attack until Riley spears him and hits him with right hands. Miz runs out of the ring, but Riley tackles him on the ramp. Riley brings the fight back to ringside and throws Miz over the fan barrier near the timekeeper's area. Riley leaps onto Miz and continues to beat him up. Riley throws him across the announcer's table. Miz finally runs off and through the crowd to the back. Riley's music hits and he stands in the ring to a pop. More hype for CM Punk versus Mysterio as they go to commercial. And that match is up next. And back from the break, out comes CM Punk to the ring with Mason Ryan. Out comes next is Rey Mysterio to a big pop. Bell rings and they have words. Punk strikes first. Goes to work on Rey in the corner, beating him down and putting the boot to his throat. Rey kicks Punk in the head and takes him down. Rey with right hands in the corner until Punk takes control. Punk throws Rey onto the floor, but he rolls through and comes right back in. Rey fights from the apron until Mason comes in and throws him into the ring post as the referee is distracted. Well, he throws him into the ring post, but he doesn't hit head first. He rolls to his back as he falls to the floor. Okay, as the referee was distracted, they cut to commercial at this point. Back from the break, Punk has Ray in a submission. Ray rolls out and goes to work on Punk, but gets caught with a knee to the back for a 2 count. Punk with the head scissors now. Punk with elbows to the head and a 2 count. Punk back to a head scissors. Okay, I must what? Okay, something where was I at? Head scissors. Okay. Head scissors. More elbows and another 2 count. Ray comes back now with kicks. Punk goes for a suplex, but Ray drop kicks him into the ropes. Punk slides out of the ring, but Ray dives to the ropes, sending Punk to the announcer's table. Ray brings it back in the ring. Goes up top. Ray with a senton from the top and a crossbody for a second rope for a 2 count. Ray ends up on his shoulders and rolls Punk up for a 2 count. Punk catches him with a backbreaker and another 2 count. Punk goes for the GTS, but Ray counters and throws him into the ring ropes for the 619. Mason gets involved again and gets drop kicked into the barrier. Punk goes for the GTS again. Ray slides out, but Punk drops him with a kick to the back of the head, like it's an insecurity kick for the win. Hype for WWE Tough Enough and footage of Steve Austin on Jimmy Fallon's show. More plugs for Truth versus Cena tonight. Karma is up next as we go to the break. Back from the break, and Karma is in the ring. She says, yes, she's speaking. She's had 2 dreams since she was a kid. One, become a WWE superstar. Everyone told her it was impossible. She says she even went out for season 2 of Tough Enough and was told by Jim Ross that she was too fat to ever be a WWE diva. Karma says she took his words and took the advice to Japan, where she scrubbed floors of dojos in exchange for training to become a wrestling master. Karma says she's moved on to every wrestling promotion until finally her dream became true, and she became to WWE this year. She says her other dream is in a little bit more personal. She always wanted to be a mother. Karma announces she is currently pregnant, and it's a high-risk pregnancy. Thus, she's the same size as my wife, so it is high risk. So doctor tells her she cannot compete. So she can't compete or do anything physical. Karma says she will be back in 1 year's time. Thanks to the fans for letting her share her dream so far in the month that she's been there now. Karma says she will be back again. Then we have the Bella Twins music hit, and out they come to the stage. They mock Karma for being pregnant and pick on her size, saying she's not diva material. They enter the ring still talking trash and ask if it bugs her that she can't beat them up because of the doctor's orders. They ask her if the baby has ears yet, and they start to tell the baby a joke, but Karma, being fat, she charges them but stops. She says in 1 year, again, when she comes back, she hopes that they are still in the business because now she has a new dream. Karma's music then hits and she leaves, stopping at the top of the ramp, stares at the Bellas, just turns her head and what have you. And they get hyped for next month's Capital Punishment pay-per-view from Washington, D.C. Lawler leads us into the imaginary as his dream press conference with Barack Obama again. Jack Swagger versus Evan Bourne is up next. Back from commercial. Out comes Swagger. Out next is Evan Bourne in a rematch from last week. Bell rings and Swagger kicks Bourne in the head and does it again. Swagger puts a knee to Bourne on the mat. Swagger continues the offense until Bourne causes them both to tumble outside the ring. Swagger rams Bourne back in her apron and brings it back inside the ring. Swagger with a clothesline for a 2 count. Swagger then does some push-ups on top of Bourne, and then puts a knee to his back. Headlock by Swagger. Bourne tries to fight back, but Swagger beats him back down and puts a boot to his chest. Swagger poses now, allowing Bourne to recover. Swagger slaps Bourne in the head. Bourne comes back with kicks. Bourne ducks the clothesline, but gets caught with a big side slam. Swagger smacks and pushes Bourne around some more. Bourne counters a move and rolls Swagger up for the pin. Schoolboy roll. Winner of the match, Evan Bourne, as he escapes the ring. And we go backstage to R-Truth talking to himself. We see John Cena walk into the ring for the main event. Zack Ryder stops him and has his own belt with him. Cena walks on to the ring for tonight's main event as we go back to the commercial. I didn't even see that part at all. Something I guess I just blinked my eyes and missed. Another segment that they had problem with, I guess. And your main event, R-Truth versus John Cena, back for commercial, and out comes Truth first. They show footage from what happened earlier, and you actually heard the sound. He was out in the commons area, and they had technical difficulties. Cena's music hits next, and out comes W Champion for the title match. Well, they actually showed it, and you could hear it as he was talking to fans at ringside, in the very back row at ringside, right before they come up through the crowd, where he was talking to the fans. One little fan, he called him Little Jimmy, and then his dad is Big Little Jimmy. And his other son, the other son, was almost as tall as his dad, and he was really just as young as himself. I believe the second son, he was about 14, 15 years old. He was real tall. We're standing on his chair, what have you. All right, this match was basically a squash match, but R-Truth won the match by a count out. Okay, I'll go right through it. They show footage from earlier where he said John Cena's music is out next. Out comes the champion for his non-title match. Bell rings and they lock up. Truth with a headlock, but Cena breaks free. Truth flees to the corner to stall some. Truth's back in the ring and goes to work on Cena, beating him down in the corner. Cena comes back with a bulldog, and Truth ends up back on the floor. Truth goes around the ring, getting into it with fans. Comes back in and gets dropped by Cena. Cena hits a big back drop and then a 5-knuckle shuffle. Truth gets up and goes back outside of the ring. Truth comes back in, and Cena goes for the attitude adjustment. Truth grabs the ropes, slides out, and goes back to the floor. Truth starts to walk up into the crowd, comes to the same family he did in the opener. Cena comes after him in the crowd. Truth lays him out at ringside, and then runs back into the ring as Cena gets counted out. Winner by count out, R-Truth. After the match, as soon as the bell rings, Truth takes off up the ramp in the same area as he was at with the fans from earlier. And this is what happened. Truth takes off the ramp, like I said, and Cena is shocked because he walked around the ramp way back to the ringside where the fans were from the opener. He takes the kid's drink. Oh, this kind of pissed off the father. Father stood up. Doesn't say anything to him. Well, Truth is drinking his drink. Finishes it to a point, and I believe he takes the father's drink. But then he throws the drink back in his father's face. Cena runs to the rescue, but Truth runs off. Cena apologizes to the father and wipes the drink off of the father with his sweatbands. Cena apologizes to the family again and gives him his own sweatbands off of his head and his armbands and what have you. As the show goes off, he's shaking the fans' hands. hugging them and what have you. All right. After all that, they read on Twitter from Joey Styles, couldn't think of his name from earlier. Raw GM announcement and confirmed through AJ. From Joey Styles' Twitter, Raw GM has ordered R-Truth to apologize next week on Raw to earn a WWE title match with John Cena at Capital Punishment. And the video of this is supposedly on WWE.com. And that ends my WWE portion video for this week for Raw. See you on my next video, TNA Impact, and I'll give you a little spoiler. The Impact spoiler that was posted by one fan, he was ejected from the arena.